Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Ross and Giggles Fanfiction Power Hour. I'm your host, Ross Pitt, and with me today, as always, is your other host, Giggles the Clown.
Hey, everybody, it's me!
Oh my god, Giggles. Giggles, what happened to your lisp?
It was corrected via dental implants.
Wow, very impressive. Well, congratulations. And sorry about the wife, by the way, Giggles.
I'm not. I got a huge payout of life insurance.
Well, I'm glad that you had me kill her, really.
These clowns got messed up.
Oh no, it's not Ross and Giggles Fanfiction Power Hour. I killed Giggles months ago.
Thankfully. That guy was a monster.
He was awful. I don't know why we ever, let him into our friend group.
We needed someone else.
I think we could have done with nobody else. Anyways, PTSD aside. Yes, over here is Wizzy Puff. Hi, Wizzy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. But really, how are the viewers doing?
Well, let's wait for them to speak. And that's it. That's the whole episode. We just sit here for 2 more hours.
Just having the ambient noise in the background.
That would be wild.
That's what we're going to do when we actually do our camping podcast.
Ooh, that would be fun. Yeah, hey everybody. Happy freaking April Fool's
Easter
Day.
Monday. Oh.
April Fool's Day. And for April Fool's Day, we're just going to get a bit wacky, you know? We're just going to get a bit silly here. Yeah, I hope you guys are excited. We're actually going to read 2 fanfictions today. Yay!
Been a while since we've done a 2-parter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember the last time we've read 2 fanfictions in an episode.
Well, there was the Hugh Neutron duology, but does that really count?
Oh, right.
Because it's the same story.
I mean, it's not really the same story. They're 2 different stories.
Yeah, but it feels like a second kind of like a second chapter almost. I guess it's just a sequel is the thing versus having 2 completely separate stories.
Might have been, I think it was Mare in the House and Let Her In.
Oh my goodness! All the way back in October.
Yep, that was over half a year ago, I believe. But enough about me. Let's talk about fanfictions. We're gonna get into them. This first fanfiction that we will be reading is called GLaDOS Introduces the Ponies to Deadly Neurotoxin by Neutral Milk. For those of you who don't know, I love the Portal series.
Woo!
I absolutely adore that series. Do not care about Half-Life. Do not want a Half-Life 3. Give me a Portal 3, please.
Agreed. Although I think they'd probably do Half-Life first and then Portal, because that's how they seem to enjoy their games.
Yeah, that's not happening.
GLaDOS is probably the best female villain.
I mean,
especially
Catra?
in video games.
I would agree if Catra didn't exist.
Catra's not a villain. Catra's just misunderstood child baby.
Warning. Skip ahead about 30 seconds to avoid spoilers for She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, Season 3.
She ended the goddamn world.
Almost.
On purpose.
Out of spite.
She had an out, and then she pulled that fucking lever.
It wasn't out of hatred for the world, it was out of spite for this is spoiling She-Ra at this point.
That makes her even worse.
We gotta add a spoiler warning right before that.
Yeah. Everybody, go watch She-Ra. It's freaking great, and Catra's the best character of all time. I love Catra. Catra's so cool.
Mwah. Okay, but
also go play the Portal games.
In video game villains, GLaDOS is probably best female villain.
Far and away. I can't think of another one.
Lady, what's her name? Dimitrescu.
That woman from Resident Evil, whatever.
Yeah, it's always the second villain I think of. There was Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, yeah.
They had Gruntilda. Pretty cool.
Wow, that's 3 whole female villains in all of gaming.
Yeah.
Slow down there, you feminist paragons.
We could count the bosses from Mario, maybe, but that's not really main villain characters.
Yeah, I'm thinking main villains.
When it comes to female villains, you kind of gotta dig.
I guess Mother Brain. Mother Brain's one.
Oh, Mother Brain, what is that?
Metroid.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, Metroid was
well.
pretty cool for female characters, I gotta say, until they gave the weird, sexy Zero suit to Samus.
I love that suit.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people love that suit.
It's a cool suit.
She looked so badass in the space armor, and then they put her in a skin-tight onesie.
I think she looks great in both.
She does, but, like, there's a reason they gave her that for a certain appeal that may have not been there if she were male.
I mean, have you seen one of the endings of Metroid?
Yeah, that's true. They were doing it from the beginning. Disappointing.
All right. Enough about that. We'll get into that later.
This is why GLaDOS is such a great character.
Yeah, because she's easy to jerk off to. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. And every pony dies. The end.
Whoa!
Oh, I'm kidding. That's not the end. That's not the end. GLaDOS introduces the ponies to deadly neurotoxin by Neutral Milk. It was a bright and sunny day in the magical land of Equestria. Cloudless though the sky was, Pegasi were still actively flying to and fro, enjoying their languid afternoons. The warmth of Celestia's sun bathed the entire land with its golden rays. Fillies and colts played various games outdoors, while their elder counterparts cheerily worked their respective careers. It was truly a perfect day. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Neurotoxin. So deadly.
GLaDOS boomed inside the control room, her voice faltering as the toxic gas continued pouring into the room. She began to cough violently as her test subject ran around below, narrowly dodging missiles shot by various turrets.
Choking.
A mechanical cackle suddenly interrupted her speech and feigned coughs.
Ha! I'm kidding. And when I said deadly neurotoxin, the deadly was in massive sarcasm quotes.
GLaDOS idyllically continued her barrage of insults towards test subject number 1498, aka Chell, as she watched the clock wind down until her foe's imminent demise.
It's actually weird. I've never seen Chell spelled out. It's just
Really?
It's just basic Chell, but I kind of expected it to look like, I don't know, kind of Italian maybe?
Chell with a bit of pasta sauce on it.
Chell. Belle grazie.
Mamma mia.
This is for you Italians, all the Italian listeners.
We love you. The neurotoxin had been pumped into the room for 5 minutes now. Only one more until Chell would be dead. GLaDOS regaled in success. Sure, she had lost 3 of her personality cores, but with Chell dead, she'd have loads of time to create and install more. If she wanted them, that is.
What's your point, anyway?
GLaDOS asked to the human running along the floor she hung above, mocking her attempts to fight back.
Survival? Well then, the last thing you want to do is hurt me. I have your brain scanned and permanently backed up in case something terrible happens to you. Don't believe me? Here, I'll put you on. Hello? That's you. That's how dumb you sound. You're not smart. You're not.
Suddenly, a missile shot into her casus. GLaDOS let out a mechanized scream as her last core dropped to the ground, snarling viciously. GLaDOS shrieked in pain as her aggressive core was flung into the Aperture Science Emergency Intelligence Incinerator by Chell. The room that encased her began to crumble, her mainframe going absolutely haywire. She was rapidly losing control of Aperture Science, her darling facility.
You're not a scientist.
Her voice was speeding up, her processor clearly going out of control.
You're not a doctor.
The facility was collapsing under itself, streams of light peering through the crumbling ceiling. Parts of her behemoth chassis were spinning wildly in the air as bolts of electricity shot out of her randomly.
You're not even a full-time?
Suddenly, GLaDOS stopped, her voice entirely gone. She could still watch the facility crumble to the ground and feel her controls slipping away. Shell stood before her, her clothing and hair tattered from battle. GLaDOS attempted to point the missile turrets at her once more, but nothing happened. A small window popped up in GLaDOS's vision, reading, "Core malfunction imminent. All essential personnel proceed to nearest Aperture Science emergency escape test tube system immediately. All others, please assume the Aperture Science safety position under your desks."
What does that mean?
God, I love Aperture Science. Duck and cover.
Oh boy.
In an instant, her body began to spiral out of control. She exploded, tearing holes into the ceiling and walls, pouring even more light inside the once sealed room. GLaDOS saw Shell smile, and then nothing. Do-do-do-do-do-do. GLaDOS blinked.
Wait, I can't blink.
She blinked again, and again, reveling in the new sensation of locomotion she had never experienced before. She looked around her surroundings, seeing familiar computers, machines, and other scientific components. However, something was very different. She attempted to expand her vision to the facility, only to find that she was blocked off.
What is the meaning of this?
She cried out, stamping on the ground. She recoiled instantly.
What is this? I can move freely?
She looked down at herself. No longer was she dangling from a ceiling in gargantuan casus. Instead, she had legs. 4 of them, to be precise. She examined herself further and noticed she also had hooves and a tail and mane made of black and orange wires.
I'm a pony? Who did this to me?
GLaDOS screamed again, moving shakily around the room that contained her. "Sweet Celestia," a mare's voice called from behind the one-way glass. "Mr. Johnson, you've done it again. You've created a sentient robot." A door on the far side of the room opened, revealing a petite pink mare, a soft blonde mane cascading down her neck. She wore an oversized lab coat and trotted into the room excitedly. "Oh, hey, it's Daisy."
So this is an actual character?
Background character.
Oh, okay.
"Pleased to meet you," she said, offering her hoof to the robotic pony. "I'm Daisy Dukes, but please just call me Daisy." GLaDOS stood before her silently, entirely unsure of what to do. She wasn't used to friendly interactions, only ones that involved causing pain and death, however, not essentially in that order. Before she could speak, a stallion came busting through the door. "Well, damn. I haven't been this excited since we killed all those mantis men in the Great Mantis Men Extermination Experiment 5 years ago." The stallion brushed a hoof against his chin, reminiscing. "Anyway, I'm Colt Johnson, founder and CEO of God damn it. Aperture Science.
It has to be a pun.
I'm Colt Johnson, founder and CEO of Aperture Science. I'd say that we made you, as in a team of scientists, but the fact is that I did, for science." GLaDOS was utterly confused. She recognized the ponies that stood before her, just not as ponies. Their human counterparts were the only fond memories in her hard drive that didn't involve testing and horrible deaths of test participants. "Since I designed you to be an omniscient being to control the facility in my absence, I also figured, what the hey, why not throw in some deadly neurotoxin emitters? All my employees complained that it's too dangerous, and to that I said poppycock. But with some encouragement by the Ponyville Police Department, I've decided to install these personality cores to hinder your natural murderous tendencies."
No! That's all GLaDOS knows.
He trotted to another door and opened it, revealing 3 small spheres in glass jars, all of them babbling incoherently about different topics.
What?
GLaDOS exclaimed in surprise.
I haven't even been alive for more than 5 minutes. I haven't even killed anybody yet.
"Yes, I know," Colt Johnson replied, trotting back to GLaDOS. "Now stay still while I install these Aperture Science personality inhibitor cores." Daisy Dukes dashed to the closet and grabbed the jars in her hooves, bringing them to GLaDOS. The robotic pony jumped back from her and retreated to the far corner. She quickly did a systems check and noticed that she did, in fact, have deadly neurotoxin inside of her new body. She analyzed it, only to find that it was even more powerful than the neurotoxin she had used back in the Aperture Science Enrichment Center.
I'm afraid you're both about to be immediate past presidents of the Being Alive Club.
She sniped, two small nozzles popping out of the top of her head. Daisy and Colt stopped in their tracks and exchanged horrified looks. Neurotoxin emitters on a sentient robot pony, Colt said as green, noxious gas jetted out from GLaDOS spigots. Not one of my better ideas. Shortly after, both Daisy and Colt were dead on the floor.
Oh my god.
Well, that's a bummer. Anyways, GLaDOS easily escaped Aperture Labs, killing nearly every pony that she encountered with her deadly neurotoxin. It wasn't long until she was outside, feeling the heat of the sun for the first time against her cold steel body. She felt something inside of her, something other than the burning hate of humanity and the constant desire to test.
Could this be happiness? The feeling of freedom to pursue a life that I choose? To no longer be permanently trapped inside that godforsaken laboratory testing and testing and testing?
A tab popped up in her vision. Aperture Science Innard solar panels working at 100% efficiency.
Oh, well, I guess not,
GLaDOS said, pushing the feeling back into the recesses of her mainframe. She spotted a town in the distance and began to gallop in its direction. Man, this is going to become a real bummer, isn't it?
Nah. She's gonna learn love. That's gonna be the thing in the end. Don't worry.
She's probably going to kill everybody.
Why would GLaDOS do that? GLaDOS isn't known to do that.
Actually, Wizzy, fun fact, GLaDOS is known to do that.
She's gonna capture them and use them for testing.
For real. Funny and fun as the games are, they're really dark.
Yeah.
GLaDOS reached the edge of Ponyville and stopped. She watched ponies frolic in fields and play together, smiles on their faces. The sounds of happy laughter and talking echoed through the town as the sun began its daily descent beyond the horizon. GLaDOS wasn't sure why, but she hated this place. Everything about it made her long for Aperture Science. The days of testing humans until they accidentally fell into pits of acid, or accidentally were thrown into towering infernos after completing their tests. The days where she could happily offer cake and grief counseling to every test participant that was unlucky enough to be left behind in the enrichment center with her. The days before Chell. Suddenly, a cyan Pegasus shot over her head, her prismatic mane fluttering behind her.
GLaDOS grimaced at the bright colors.
Look at that pony sailing through the air majestically, like an eagle piloting a blimp.
The crack about the Pegasus' weight only brought forward more memories of Chell and her defiant assault on Aperture Science. Rage built up in her computerized mind. She wanted to kill something. She trotted casually into the center of Ponyville, the nozzles on her head opening slowly. Then every pony died. The end.
What?
Of Chapter 1.
Oh, there is another chapter. Yes, the world is saved. I knew it.
Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Well, every pony except Sweetiebot. Being a robot, she's pretty much immune to deadly neurotoxin.
Nice.
And Fluttershy, because flutter death should be, and in some countries is, a crime against humanity that is punishable by execution via tweezers, a spoon, and a copy of War and Peace. And I suppose Rarity lived too, since Fluttershy should have her best friend alive to be with her. And if that's the case, Applejack lived as well, since Rare Jack is obviously the best ship. Okay, Rainbow Dash is now alive because there's gotta be a love triangle in there somewhere to strengthen Applejack and Rarity's relationship. What better pony than Rainbow Dash? She's shipped with every pony, and when Rainbow Dash is sad after being dumped, she could cry on Twilight's shoulders, who also apparently survived the blast of deadly neurotoxin. And since the main five just sounds weird, Pinkie Pie survived as well. Also, she's Pinkie Pie. Screw the physics of deadly neurotoxin.
True.
She's probably immune and drinks liquefied neurotoxin with her cupcakes. What a beast. Back to Sweetie Bot. It's entirely unfair for her to be alone, so Apple Bloom and Scootaloo also managed to live.
What is Sweetie
All three
Bot?
of them earning surviving an attack of deadly neurotoxin cutie marks. Whatever the hell that looks like. Big Mac and the entire Apple family also survived, since Applejack shouldn't have the responsibility of raising her sister on her own, in addition to still working on the apple orchard to feed the remaining population of ponies. But now that there's so many ponies alive, they need a leader. Princess Celestia. She also managed to hold her breath long enough for the neurotoxin to not enter her body and do whatever it is the deadly neurotoxin does. And I guess Luna and Derpy survived, as they are fan favorites, and I would be getting massive dislikes for their deaths. Okay, and Lyra, she's too cool not to keep alive. Every pony else in Equestria died.
What?
And by every pony else, I mean no pony at all. Every pony, including Daisy Dukes, Colt Johnson, and the employees of Aperture Science, due to convenient narcolepsy, they all appeared dead, survived the attack of neurotoxin. No pony was even remotely harmed by the deadly neurotoxin. Oh, except Spike. Spike died. Fuck you.
God.
I don't even want to read this last sentence after that.
It's just inaccurate.
And then every pony lived happily ever after.
Jesus. Well, I guess I got my ending. That's actually really funny. I was not expecting it to just be what I said. It's like everyone's actually alive.
Wasn't quite expecting that.
I was gonna get so mad if they just like resurrected Lyra without Bon Bon.
Yeah. In my headcanon, Spike survived.
Yeah.
Because Spike is awesome. Okay. Yep, that makes sense now. This was released May 2012. Of course Spike died. This was before people realized how awesome Spike was.
I just thought he was Twilight's annoying little brother.
Yes, he's Twilight's annoying little brother and the best character in the show.
Booyah.
So to answer your question, Sweetie Bot is, I believe she started via Friendship is Witchcraft, which is a My Little Pony Abridged series created by Jenny Nicholson and other person. And she's like the best part of that series. Yeah, she's basically Sweetie Belle's robot.
Nice.
And we all love it. It's really funny. So, yeah, I enjoyed that one very much. I, again, love Portal, so duh. Of course I was going to enjoy that.
I just think they could have, maybe described how the ponies were getting affected by the neurotoxin more.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a bummer.
That would have been very... It would give us closure on Spike.
Someone kill me. Actually, no one kill me.
GLaDOS can kill you with her neurotoxin.
Oh, God.
Don't worry.
I'm good.
I've heard neurotoxin is totally non-painful.
Wizzy, what do you got for me?
I have Rainbow Dash Doesn't Know What Hooves Are by Present Perfect.
Finally reading a Present Perfect fic. At the very least, I don't think we've read a Present Perfect fic before.
I don't recognize the name. I feel like I'd recognize their name if I read a Present Perfect fic, because they're supposed to be really good.
Well, now, hold on. No one ever said that.
Just said they were known.
They're known. No one ever said they were really good. Although that was off podcast, so,
according to the comments, I would say that I can't tell whether they're good or not,
I guess we'll have to judge for ourselves in
Rainbow Dash Doesn't Know What Hooves Are. Chapter 1. Rainbow Dash Doesn't Know What Hooves Are. Rainbow Dash Doesn't Know What Hooves Are by Present Perfect. Rainbow Dash sprang into action the moment she heard the scream. Feet pounding the linoleum, she sprinted for the art room and flung open the door. She was moving fast enough that everything else was in slow motion. On the wall of the art room, above the air conditioner, was a series of metal brackets holding planks of wood that acted as questionable shelves, which Sunset Shimmer was in the middle of falling from. Joining her was a whole mess of paintbrushes, pencils, easels, and cans of paint, not to mention the high shelf they had been sitting on.
Sitting.
In the span of a breath, Rainbow dove, caught Sunset, rolled, and landed safely. The sundry!
What?
I just remembered when I was talking with that word about that word with you.
I can't remember.
It's like on our last call. I was trying to remember the word sultry, and I remembered sundry.
Oh, right. Yep. Now I remember.
Yeah, just funny.
What a sundry of emotions that have just flared back to me.
The sundry art supplies clattered to the floor behind them a heartbeat later, splattering the art room floor with numerous colors of paint. It was a safe bet to assume Ms. Pommel would be... My dogs are barking, and I don't mean my feet.
Whoa, Wizzy, your feet are pissed.
They don't like being stepped on.
That must be real tough for you. Because you have huge feet.
I do. Size 13. You can see Wizzy's feet on Wiki Feet now.
Like, you have even bigger feet than Giggles had.
Yo! Clown joke.
Yep. I saw the opportunity and like a cool cat, I sprang for it.
Oh god, Giggles is definitely going to be a haunting presence on this podcast from now on.
Yep.
Splattering the art room floor with numerous colors of paint, it was a safe bet to assume Ms. Pommel would be overjoyed by the new design.
Never fear, your friendly neighborhood Rainbow Dash is here.
Rainbow stood, still holding Sunset, and grinned at her. Wow, Dash, thanks. Sunset laughed. I'm glad I can count on you to pull my tail out of the fire.
You don't have a tail,
Rainbow said, looking at her expectantly. Sunset chuckled, then gave Dash a flat look. You're going to put me down, right? Rainbow held the expectant grin for a moment longer before shrugging and acquiescing.
So, what were you doing just now? Something dangerous?
It shouldn't have been. Sunset rubbed her hands together. I mean, reaching up high wouldn't be any trouble in Equestria. I'd just use my magic. She sighed and looked up at the shelf just in time for one last paint can to fall onto her head. Ow!
Oh no. Rest in peace, best character.
Rip. Dash doubled over with laughter.
As Sunset bled out on the ground.
God. Sunset's just not responding, and she's just laughing on the floor.
That is so a Rainbow Dash thing to do.
I hope it isn't. But I haven't watched the show. I would have to believe you.
I'm sure you will get mixed opinions on that.
Sometimes when she would.
Rainbow Dash is a complicated character.
Actually, human Rainbow Dash is probably, immature. More immature than...
She is.
Pony Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, she very much is. And I think that Rainbow Rocks proves it.
Ooh.
She's just, like, a teenager, And a lot of people hate her for it.
Dang.
For how she acts in that film. But she's a kid. But
it's like people getting pissed at Caillou.
Be cocky. Like, well, he deserves it. But
whoa!
I am not relenting on that. Fuck Caillou.
Remember Googling why people hate him, and then the auto result was like some Quora answer that's just like digging into Caillou, and it's like even his hair hated him so much it flew off his body or something. That's why he's bald.
It's true. Bald characters sell, man.
Is it true?
I mean, just look at the amount of bald characters. You got Charlie Brown. You got Caillou.
Dang.
I'm sure there's another bald child out there.
Shaolin Showdown main character.
Yeah.
Sunset growled and pushed at the paint can, which eventually released with a pop, and covering her thoroughly in fuchsia.
Oh, I thought that said fuchsia.
Rainbow only laughed harder. Dash, knock it off. Coughing and sputtering, she wiped the paint out of her eyes. Ugh, as much as these things can be useful. She flicked her hands at Dash, splattering her with globs of paint that did not stop her laughter one bit. I'd gladly go back to Hooves just to avoid this. Dash's laughter petered out, and she wiped some of the paint flecks from her face. Hands are so weird, Sunset mumbled, ignoring her. One time, I stared at my hands for 10 minutes straight. I swear, I could see them growing.
Did you blink?
She shivered.
Sunset?
Yes? Sunset shook her head, turning back to Dash. Rainbow kicked at the door, pushing a small puddle of paint into a different puddle, to form what looked like a negative image banana tree.
All right. Just what exactly are hooves?
Sunset snorted, spit fuchsia, and started laughing. After a few moments, the laughter died down as she stared at Rainbow Dash with concern. Wait, you seriously don't know what hooves are? Rainbow shook her head. It's what ponies have instead of these. Sunset held her hand up. You know, hard, heavy, kinda cute. Her eyes unfocused. Sometimes covered by, unshorn fetlocks? If you've been naughty. She bit her lip and closed her eyes, hugging herself.
What the fuck?
Oh, who's a naughty pony? Okay.
No, present. Gotta ask, what spurred this?
Someone who was really, really horny while they were trying to write a normal story. Neither Sunset's words nor the fact that she had just been spattered with more paint caught Rainbow's attention, and she stood there with her tongue sticking out of the side of her mouth. After a few moments, her face lit up.
Oh, you mean feet knockers.
Rainbow noticed Sunset giving her an all-too-familiar squint-eyed, mouth slightly agape look. The one that meant, wow, Rainbow Dash, you are so totally awesome and cool.
Yep.
Rainbow said, polishing her fist on her chest.
I know I am. Just can't help being caught off guard when you don't use the right talk things. Oh, dear.
Rainbow, the word is hooves. Sunset frowned and crossed her arms with a squish. I think I'd know a little bit more about them than you.
Sunset.
Rainbow shook her head and chuckled.
Oh, God. This was a mistake. Well, too late to turn back now. That's where you're totally wrong. See, my mom always says that my dad is hung like a horse, so he obviously knows a thing or two about actual horses.
I'm so glad I didn't have to read that line.
Yeah, you just had to read, ooh, who's a naughty pony? You lucky dog, you.
Yeah, I read that line quite a few times a day. Just because it's so nice to read. I love it so much. Anyway, Rainbow noticed Sunset giving her an all-too-familiar, wide-eyed, mouth completely open look. The one that meant, wow, Rainbow Dash, you are so hot and I want to kiss you right now. What exactly does that mean? Sunset asked, eye twitching.
I don't know. He's bad at straightening pictures or something.
Rainbow shrugged.
And my mom knows a thing or two about knockers, since my dad says she's got big ones.
I want to say that this was not tagged profanity, and it should have been.
Profanity didn't come in until a bit later.
Okay.
So when I say they're feet knockers, I think it's obvious I know what I'm talking about.
Sunset shrank away from her. You must have had a very strange childhood.
That I did.
Rainbow said, regarding her nails. Her face slowly fell.
That I did.
God, I can easily picture this.
Stop right there, evildoer.
The shout sounded like Rainbow, but Rainbow hadn't said anything. The next thing either of them knew, a second Rainbow Dash charged into the art room, fist aimed squarely at first Rainbow Dash's nose. But as the newcomer approached them, she slipped on the banana tree and went down with a shout.
Remember, the banana tree was in the paint?
Yeah, the inverted banana tree? What do they call it?
Yeah, I think it was inverted banana tree, something like that.
Yeah.
I remember. Clever.
She skidded across the floor through a bunch of desks and came to a stop with her back against the far wall and her feet in the air. What in the name of Vice Principal is going on? Sunset shouted. To Rainbow Dash, it was clear. Firstly, this other Rainbow Dash, Rainbow decided to call her Crash Dash to help tell them apart. It seemed to fit, after all. Wore a leather jacket and chaps emblazoned with the Wonder Colts logo, rather than Rainbow's own, far sportier windbreaker and sports ensemble. Second, she was upside down and mostly covered in paint, which could mean only one thing.
Obviously,
Rainbow said, motioning to her double.
This is my alter ego from another dimension. Darn right I am,
shouted Crash Dash.
I could hear you making us look bad all the way from Equestria. I used Twilight's stupid portal thing to come clean your clock. Except...
She struggled, but remained upside down.
That didn't work out so well.
Rainbow crossed her arms and rolled her eyes, and dotted her I's and crossed her T's.
So, just what is it I was doing this time, huh? Not knowing what hooves are.
Crash Dash flailed her arms, spreading paint all over that corner of the room. Miss Pommel would love this when she saw it.
I mean, who doesn't know that?
Rainbow smirked.
Okay, Hotshot. Then tell me, what are hands?
Crash Dash's eyes widened and her pupils shrank to pinpricks. With a little laugh, Rainbow held up her hand, palm out, at her doppelganger.
Oh,
said Crash Dash. Her gaze traveled to her own hands. She stared.
Yep.
Rainbow dusted her hands off, smearing paint all over them.
Yep. Uh-huh. It's Sesame Street. Another case solved thanks to the one and only Rainbow Dash.
She glanced over to Sunset, sitting on the air conditioner with a vacant look.
So, how about that kiss now?
Kiss? Sunset shook her head, blinking rapidly. Oh, she's batting her eyelashes. That's what she's doing. What kiss? I don't want to kiss you. Who said anything about a kiss?
Well, duh.
Rainbow rolled her eyes.
I totally saved you from ultimate danger just now, remember? God, it feels so long ago. So you totally owe me a kiss. And you said I was hot and wanted to kiss me. Plus, I've always wanted to kiss a horse.
What the?
Gonna just ignore that one.
Her vision clouded as she took on a faraway look.
My childhood was strange.
I'm leaving. Sunset stomped out of the room, a trail of multicolored footprints marking her path. Who'd want to kiss an idiot like Rainbow Dash anyway?
Hey, you shut up.
Yeah. Over by the wall, Crash Dash was still staring at her hands.
I swear I can see them growing.
Rainbow shook herself and glanced at her.
Psst. Hey, other me. You want to make out?
Crash Dash gave her an upside-down grin.
Do I ever?
Their childhoods had been very strange indeed. The end. Author's note. I have a very interesting relationship with reality. I mean, I can even tell you this story does not make one lick of sense. Yet here we are. I can't believe no one did this already. If you like stories about ponies meeting themselves, you should read Aftershock, which partially inspired this one. Thanks to Majin Siko and Kitsune Risu for feedback.
Well,
our first self-cessed fic.
That one was Rainbow Dash Doesn't Know What Hooves Are by Present Perfect. Well, I gotta say, that one was pretty present perfect, if I do say so.
You know, I agree with the comments now.
Yep. Every single one of them.
Including scrolling down a random comment. Wait, I thought it was going to be longer. I thought there was going to be paint sex. Yeah, I agree with that one.
Maybe it would have been better if there was paint sex.
Yeah, but that's only in the Patreon exclusive adult second chapter.
Was that the raunchiest story we've read?
No, I don't think so. I feel like we've read some like more raunchy ones before, like more explicitly sexual.
Rainbow Dash directly says that she wants to kiss a horse.
Yeah, but Public Boundaries actually had the horse kissing.
Yeah, but that was two horses kissing. Not a horse and not a horse.
That sounded weird.
It's a thinker. We'll get to the bottom of that later. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Ross and Wizzy's Fanfiction Power Hour. Please make sure to brush your teeth. Otherwise, giggles will haunt you, and it will not be pretty.
Oh, that guy's crazy about dental hygiene.
Yeah, I remember that one time with the whole murder and the toothbrush.
I hope next April Fool's Day we get to do an even more sexual fic.
Oh, we can.
Yeah, each April Fool's Day gets slightly more sexual.
God, that meteor can't come soon enough, can it? All right, everybody. Have a great day.
I hope someone's pranked you already, because that means someone cares enough too.
More like present prank fict.
Ooh. See ya.
This better be the stop button.
Oh, I don't know how long it took me to notice, but the name of the 100th episode is really funny. The 100, episode 100, the 100th episode.
Yep. I was pretty happy about that.
Such a celebration.
And then a tier list of the past 50 fics.
Yeah.
Good stuff.